All right, hello. It is Wednesday. If you're on the West Coast, it is noon, and that means it's time for another Courier Live, the first Courier Live of the new year. So happy New Year, everyone. I am joined with Riley, someone who needs no introduction, but I'm going to let them do it anyway.
Hi, I'm Riley. I'm an engineer here at Courier, and I think I've been on stream with you 3 times, 2 times?
Something like that. At least 3, I think.
Yeah.
And it's been an exciting week at Courier because what happened this week, Riley?
We got a whole bunch of new engineers.
So it is onboarding week for our engineers. I'm very excited about it. Lots of good people, and you are actually mentoring one of them?
Yeah, I have, well, not necessarily mentoring, but just like a resource, I guess. I guess you could maybe say it's a mentor. But yeah, it's nice because now we'll have more people to be on streams with in the future.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. But yeah, let's get started with the streams. So I was out on vacation. I think a lot of people were. And during that time, I started playing around with Twitch EventSub, which is their new replacement for their webhooks and their PubSub and all of their kind of communication through the whole Twitch dev and the API. And I built a Discord bot, but also I set up a little application that allows you to send notifications using Courier based on events that you subscribe to. So today we're going to talk about sending notifications from Twitch. So for all of you who are subscribed, and if you're not subscribed, you should probably smash that subscribe button. Is it subscribe or follow? I don't know. I just wanted to say smash that subscribe button. You usually receive an email, but email isn't always the right channel for your followers. So sometimes you might want to tell people in Slack. I know for this stream, I always set up a Slack bot reminder to tell people to join in. You might be on a Discord server. So not all streamers are coders. Some of them are playing games, and there's a huge discourse community. And then also, like, maybe you just want to be able to send somebody a text. So going beyond that, like, single email. Do you watch a lot of Twitch streamers, Riley?
No, I have been like watching some people's like Twitch stream highlights on YouTube, but it's just like people playing Among Us, I guess.
Among Us, like my favorite like genre of Twitch stream right now are drag queens playing Dead by Daylight.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Wow.
That's a lot of fun. And I just recently got into playing that game as well, which I don't recommend if you are scared of things. So it's definitely like, I think in the horror genre games, but it's like hide and seek. Yeah, let's go with that. But it's fun to watch.
Yeah. So you have drag queens just reacting over the top to being scared, basically.
I mean, we need entertainment in any form right now.
Yeah.
So what we want to do today is let's walk through the Twitch app, not the Twitch, the Glitch app. Oh my gosh, it rhymes. It's a Twitch Glitch app that I put together. And this is going to be great because you can remix it because it's Glitch. You can update some API keys, and then you can get started sending notifications using Courier. And today we're going to focus on doing something with Discourse, but it's going to be really easy to add email, SMS, and then there's also sending to Slack, sending to Discord, which is a new feature that I'm very excited about. So let's switch over and make sure I have the right thing set up here. So let's take a look at this app and kind of get an idea of what's going on the Twitch side and how it gets sent over into Courier. So I'm going to go to this. Yep. Now we're on the side. So if you were to go to glitch.com, all yada, 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 Courier Twitch EventSub. So here is the link on the screen. Feel free to go there, remix it, start using it. But we're going to do a quick walkthrough of it just to kind of show what's going on and what you need to do to set it up. So we'll leave that up for a little bit. But this is it. This is a simple README that I put in there. Feel free to tell me if it needs to add more stuff. But you can simply remix it. There is a remix button down here at the bottom, and that will create your own copy of the application. But what you're going to want to do is fill in these environment variables. I'm not going to click on the environment variable file because that will expose all of my API keys, and that's never any fun. But you'll need your Courier auth token. We can show you where that is in Courier as soon as we switch over to that. But you can sign up for a free Courier account, 10,000 messages a month. We don't even ask for a credit card for our free account, and get yourself an auth token. And so that will allow all these events to flow into Courier, and then you can decide how those are going to be sent out to people. There is a Twitch signing secret. So whenever you create a subscription to EventSub, you give it a secret, and it will use that to sign the request. So that way you can verify that it did in fact come from Twitch. And I built that in so the verification does work. And so you just set the secret in the environment variable, and then whenever you make a subscription, you use it there as well. And then you need to add your Twitch client ID and client secret. So I have this because one of the things that I do is whenever we get one of these requests, I use the info from the request and I grab more information about the stream, the game you might be playing, and then information about the Twitch user. That way we can pass all that data over into Courier, and you can use that to craft your notification. So to get your Twitch client ID and your client secret, all you need to do is go to the Twitch developer console. So it's dev.twitch.com/console, and then I think you can click on apps, or you can just do /apps. Make yourself an application. So we'll go into our Pigeon bot here, and you will grab the client ID, and you can create a new secret. And you're going to want to hold on to that, because once you navigate away from the page, then the secret disappears. So put that somewhere safe. Don't check it in. Don't check it into GitHub or anywhere. And then that way you can reuse it. And so this will just allow you to, one, make the subscriptions or make the request to subscribe to events in EventSub, and then also grab extra information using the Twitch API. Cool. So that's that stuff. And I just closed that window, so I guess we're done with it. So yeah. So then basically this is a Node.js and Express app that has a single route. So this Twitch.js, it's got a route that's a post route. And down here on server is where we actually pull it in. And so it's going to be /Twitch. And so the URL is going to be, I always hit this. So you can see that it's going to be courier-twitch-eventsub.glitch.me. It's going to change if you remix it. So that's always something to check. And then you're gonna throw /Twitch at the end. So you can hit that endpoint. And so it's going to, based on whenever you hit it, I'm using the express.json middleware, and I'm passing it a verify function. And that verify function is going to verify that signature. So making sure that the requests that we get are actually from Twitch. And that's all up here in middleware, and there's a lot of interesting stuff that I won't go into, but feel free to take a look. There's checking for time. So Twitch says that if a request is older than 10 minutes, you just need to forget it. And then there's also using the crypto library to compute a signature and compare it to the one that was sent over. And so what we're doing is we're grabbing some information. So from the header, that's going to show us the message type. And that's important because we need to check for this webhook callback verification. So whenever you make a subscription, you need, it's going to send this right away. And so Twitch is going to say, oh, you want me to make posts of this URL? Let's make sure it exists and it's set up. So if it is a webhook callback verification, then we're just going to return a 200 and pass it back the challenge that is sent over in the body. So that's fairly standard. And then the other message type that we want to check for is a revocation. So if you are subscribed to someone's stream, maybe they're followers or something, and they revoke your access to that, it's going to activate this piece of the route. And I just have it there to call it out. You'll stop getting web requests. But let's say you had a bigger application built around this, where you had a database that was storing maybe the reference to the webhooks, maybe adding some extra information, and so you want to maybe clean that up if the subscription gets revoked. And then it's set up to give you all the rest of the types. So we've got the event, and then we got the type of event. And so I'm just simply logging out what event type is coming and for what broadcaster username it is. So that way we're just any events that come and they pass the verification, we're just going to say what that is. We might not support all of them, but it accepts them. So the one that we're looking at today is for the type is stream online. And if we get this event type, then what we want to do is we want to trigger it to send all the information to Courier. So I'm not awaiting this because I wanted to go ahead and send back a 200 response. So whenever you're dealing with webhooks, you always want to make sure that you respond, so that way they don't do some kind of back off and keep sending the same webhook over and over again. It's nice to acknowledge that you've got it.
But wouldn't you need to, if there was an error in the asynchronous of sending online, like if Courier sent an error, you wouldn't catch it here?
It's like I wouldn't catch it from Courier?
Because you would... Like if the error happened asynchronously,
yeah,
you wouldn't know about it here.
But from like the standpoint of like Twitch sending you the webhook, like it's not their fault that an error happened at this point.
Yeah, and you could inside that send online function handle the error in a different kind of way. Yeah,
so like there's lots of ways that you can do it. Like you could set up like queues. I looked at like maybe setting up like RabbitMQ to do the whole queuing and everything, and so that way, like if something went wrong, you could re-queue it and things like that. But for Twitch's sake, like once they give you the message, then like they are done, and so you should release them from having to send it again. And so this is a very simple implementation of it. Could it handle errors better and things like that? Yeah, but we also don't want to wait too long before sending that response. Makes sense. And so I have everything for Courier up here in this send online event. And so we are basically going to take the event that was passed over as part of the webhook, and then we're going to use the data inside that to get information about the stream. And here I'm using I think it's twitch.js as the library. And so I've got that set up here. Creating a client using the client ID and secret, putting those into the auth provider, passing that to the API client, and then passing that out. So that way we can do fun stuff like getting more information about the stream, because the information that they send you from the webhook is very minimal. And so I just went ahead and I'm going to grab all the information about the stream. I'm going to grab all the information about the Twitch user, and then all the information about the game. Now, some of this information exists in the other objects, but not as much. So one thing that I like is if you grab information about the game, you can get like a little thumbnail of the game. So for here, I think we are like talk shows and podcasts is the game that it puts with us, just because of using StreamYard. But like if you were actually playing a game like Dead by Daylight or Mario Kart or Animal Crossing, it would actually pass you back information on that game and a cute little thumbnail that you could use in your notification. And so I take all of that information, and then we just make a simple call to Courier. And I was talking to Riley about this earlier. You'll notice that I'm using a list send instead of a regular send. And I had very specific reasons for that, but we're just passing it to an event called Twitch Online. And what we'll do next is we'll actually create that notification and map it to this event inside Courier. So that way Courier knows how to handle this request. And then I'm picking a list, and I just named it courier.twitch.online. So whenever we send to that, every recipient that's subscribed to that list will get the appropriate notification. So some recipients could be Discord channels. Some recipients could be Slack channels. Some could be a webhook that you use to set a banner on Discourse. Some could be a phone number, things like that. So Courier is still going to look at the recipient and pick the best method of sending them the notification. And so we send that. Yeah. And so this way you can actually have more than one person on this send call and send to all of them at once. So like I have a dream that eventually like I'm going to have it all set up to where whenever we go live on this stream, it's going to send out like a message to our Slack channel. It's going to send to our Discourse channel, or it's going to set the banner in our Discourse. It's going to send a message in our Discord, all the other D words, and then anything else that we have set up. And so that way, like I've fully automated away this, letting people know that I'm online.
Can you just use a glitch for that, like kind of forever, or do they start charging you for certain like amounts of traffic?
Yeah, so that's a good question. For this app, like for our instance, I have it what's called boosted, and so that keeps it running. And then there's we can actually, I think, go into tools here, or no, yeah. So here's like the app status, and so like you have 2 gig of memory, 400 meg of disk boost, sure, some CPU usage. With it boosted, you can have it always on, and then we have unlimited requests. Now, if this was not boosted, you would have limitations here, and it would not be always on. Like I think it would sleep after 5 minutes, and so it's not really great if it has to like wake back up to accept the webhook. But you can sign up and become like a full member of Glitch and boost it, or you can kind of play around with it, not use it in production, and maybe eventually just move the code off into like a VPC or somewhere serverless, things like that. But it works really well for like examples, because it is a working example and you can work off of that. I'm gonna hide this right now. Okay. So yeah, so that's a good question, and I'm just gonna close all those. And so yeah, so now we would have, so whenever we go live, which we already have, there would be an event waiting for us in Courier. But let's kind of talk about what this event's going to be. So we mentioned that you can do lots of things, send to different channels and Slack, Discord, sending text messages, sending emails if you want, sending any other kind of notification through any channels. If you have a mobile app, maybe you want to do a mobile push whenever you've gone live, you can do that as well. But for today, what we want to do is use the Discourse API to put a global banner on Discourse. So a lot of communities use Discourse as their forum. And I actually took this idea from Arlemy at Postman. So whenever they go live on their stream, they, of course, using Postman, update, run a command and update their banner. So here is our Discourse. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have trouble with this all the time. So this is our Discourse. This is what it looks like. I'm in dark mode because why not? But what we want is for a banner to show up whenever we're live. And so I'm going to go over to Postman. And so here I have a Discourse collection that's connected to our Discourse, and there is a set global notice request. And so all we have to do is just put something on here, like we'll just do testing. And then if we send that, what do we get back? 200 okay. Yeah, that's fine. And then we go and take a look and we refresh. We've got our little banner. Cool. And this banner will take HTML as well. So we could like...
Oh, so you can style it?
Huh?
So you can style it a little bit?
Yeah, you can style it. You can add links. I put like little emojis in there. But then you can go back, and if we just blank it out and hit send, we can refresh.
Oh, cool.
And it's gone. And so what we want is for Courier to do this for us. Now, there's no such thing as a discourse provider, right? Like this is kind of a special thing. It's not really a notification. It's a feature of Discourse that we can access using their API. So we're going to use an integration called the Webhook integration, and that allows Courier to make a post on your behalf, right? And we've used this before. Actually, I think you were on the stream before when we used it, Riley. But we've made some changes, some updates to it that makes it a little nicer. So we can actually decide what the payload of that request is going to be. And first, something we forgot to cover was actually subscribing to the event sub. And so quickly, I'll show you how you do that. So in Postman, I have a Twitch collection with an event sub folder, and there is a create subscription. And so you can either use curl to do this, or your favorite API tool, such as Postman. But you want to do a post to their event sub subscriptions endpoint. And so I have that right here. There's some fun headers. So you're going to use your Twitch client ID. Again, for authentication, it's using OAuth 2. So a nice thing about using Postman is you can set up that OAuth 2 to go and retrieve a token and use that. And so I have that set up. But then you just give it a body, and you say what event type you want. So we're using stream online. There's stream offline. I think there's a user follow. They handle a lot of different types of events. You give it a broadcast user ID, and so this is the ID for Courier on Twitch. And I found that by using this get users endpoint. So I've built this one in, and so if we send that, we got this response window.
So that's like registering a webhook then, basically with Twitch? Yeah.
So for all of their like webhook registration stuff, it's API first. So you can't go into the console and set it up currently. I don't know what their plans are, but I use this to set it up. I've also like created a Discord bot that allows you to do it through commands. But whatever works for you. You just need to make this post request, give it this condition that says which user it should look for, and then information about the transport. So the only one that they support currently is Webhook, which is what we want to use. And then here for the callback, we give it the URL to our Twitch route. Mm-hmm. And then we give it the secret. And from our secret, I'm just using Purple Monkey Dishwasher to verify. Do you know, did that reference like go above your head? Yeah. Okay. So it's, I think it was an episode of The Simpsons where they were doing something that was like playing the game telephone. And so it was like one person would start and they'd say it down there, and they were like, and the last person would like get up and then like, da-da-da-da-da, what the thing was. And then they go, Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
No, I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'm just really old. If you're out there and you've played the game Telephone, please, I don't know. There's nothing that can be done now. But you know what? It's beyond redemption. So that's just a funny secret that I like to use. And so that way it will use that secret to create that signature to pass along that we can verify that it came from Twitch. And you can create as many of these different events as you want. Like if you're watching multiple people, you can create this event for different broadcast user IDs. So maybe we want to send notifications whenever Courier goes online, whenever It's Adrian goes online, whenever somebody else, Twitch Dev, goes on live. So we can create an event and point them to the same endpoint, and then we can have Courier decide how the message gets sent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we played with that. Let's play in Courier now, right? I think that's where we are. So I can show you an example. I kicked this off yesterday. Twitch has a great little CLI that they just released, but because it's still kind of in beta, it doesn't support all of the event types. And one of them is the stream online. And so to send a test for this event, I actually had to go online yesterday. So if you got notifications, like Twitch notifications in the email from me, sorry. But you can see that there is a notification from yesterday. I think that's yesterday. Yeah, from yesterday for the Twitch Online event. You can see that it was not delivered because it has not been mapped. So that's one thing that we'll need to do, create a notification and map it. And then you can see all the information that was received. So here's all of the data that came back from those calls that I made. So we have information on the stream, we have information on the game, and we have information on the Twitch user. And so we can use all of that whenever we craft this notification. So let's go and create a new notification. And we're going to ignore this Courier Live Alert. It has a little bit different data. We've been using that one for a while, but I'm just going to create a notification. And I'm going to call it Twitch Alert. And we could start off by adding, support for email. We could add support for push, SMS, any of the direct messages, MS Teams, Slack, Discord. But today we're just going to focus on making it work for Discourse. And so to make that work, we are going to add the Webhook channel. And that presents us with information for a payload. So inside this editor, all you're going to see is the payload that you need to send over. And if we look back at Postman, it's a very simple payload, very simple. All it needs is this global notice. So I'm going to go ahead and take that and copy that over. And I'm going to take out all this wonderful stuff that comes by default. And so that's the payload that needs to send over. But we need to be able to say, where do we need to send this payload? So what's the URL? What headers are required? So if there's like an API key that needs to be set as the header, or if we're doing bearer auth, token auth, we need to be able to set those. So if you look in our documentation, not the API docs, so docs.courier.com, you can come over here to integrations, and down here at the bottom is the Webhook integration. And that's going to tell you about all the different things that you can set up inside the profile. So we're using what's called a dynamic webhook. So whenever you set up the integration, you could say, always go to this URL. Or you can make it dynamic, which it's going to read that information from the profile that you send over. And so we're going to set that up. And I actually have it set up in our Postman collection. So I'm going to use the merge profile endpoint. And we're going to look at the body here, make this a little bigger. So in the profile, we're going to give it a webhook object where we're going to specify the URL. So it's going to be our community.courier.com/admin/site_settings/global_notice. We can give it the method. So this method happens to be a put. So we can specify that. And then we can also give it headers. So the way that authentication works with the Discourse API is it takes an API key and an API username. And I'm using the Postman variables so I don't show you my API key. Thinking. And so what you would do is add this as a recipient ID. Now you could put this in line, but because we're using lists, we need to create a recipient. And so I've just named this recipient courier_discourse_banner. And so whenever you hit send, I've already added this, so I'm not going to do it. It will create this recipient inside Courier. And then to get it to be sent to whenever we send to that list, we can use the subscribe endpoint that will subscribe them to the list. So I have the list ID as courier.twitch.live. And then the recipient ID is the recipient ID that we just used. And then that will actually associate that recipient with this list. So we're good and set up there.
Wait, I don't get that part. Can you do that again?
Yeah, sure. What part?
So what do we? So this is adding a subscription, a recipient to the list, and we're adding a recipient to the Courier live notification list. The recipient ID is Courier Discourse banner, and that recipient ID is getting mapped to what? I guess I'm not following.
Yeah, so that gets mapped to the profile that we just created up here in this Git.
So we're using Courier's profile, fetching it from our profile database that has that data in it.
Yeah. So whenever you're using lists, they go hand in hand with the profile database that we have. Yeah. So if we were sending it just to one person, so if we were saying we only ever want this to go to one person, then we could inline all of that profile data. But because when sending to a list, we're targeting multiple profile data, then we have to like pull that from our.
That makes sense. I haven't worked on lists since I kind of started. Since I worked on it at the very beginning, I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
So well, I get it, but it's just like take me like a second to like remind myself that a list is a list of recipients, and the recipients have profiles, and for this specific profile, it has information about a webhook. And then we're going to use that information on a webhook to send information to Discourse.
Yes. Yep. That's it. We should have like made a pretty little picture.
Yeah.
That would have been good. We gotta make notes for next time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're gonna say that we have that all hooked up, and so if we go back into Courier, now we actually need to put some content in there. So we could just be like, "We're live. Come watch." But that's not very fun. So
you have to give them a link to click on.
Right. So like, let's kind of like start building this out. And then what we'll do is we'll use the power of Jsonnet to make it a little bit more dynamic. So what do I have like up here? I have like, we're live on Twitch. There. Oh, let's add it because we can. Let's add a little emoji.
Still is magical. Like, what's the hotkey for emoji selector?
It's Control Command Space on the Mac. And so like I'm just gonna grab like the little person at the computer. Where is that at? Oh, I think I missed it.
Find to work.
Yeah, there it is. We'll use the female technologist. I think.
Command space. I don't know.
Okay, and then it does that little separator thing. That's fun. And so we're live on Twitch. We'll say join us for, and here we can put in like just regular HTML for a link. And it's going to be, use single quotes. https://twitch.tv/ and I'm going to leave this blank because based on the information that comes in, that URL is going to be different, right? So like the base URL is going to be twitch.tv, and we should have the information to grab the username, which is the last part of it, to link them in. And so I'll put the ending. And we'll just say this is title for right now, because we'll get the title of the stream. And yeah, so this is very simple, but it's not very customized, right? Like it's always going to send the same message.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we can do is we can use a little Jsonnet magic. I like to start by going up above here and creating like a data variable, a local data variable, and we can get all of the request data from using this function. So you did a lot of work on. Oh, I didn't get that, did I? You did a lot of work on this Jsonnet. It started as something that we put in for building BlockKit, and now it's moved on to building dynamic payloads for web for webhooks, and I think we're going to add it to MS Teams.
We could add that cool expand button.
Oh my gosh, this is my favorite thing. It expands, and you can just you can have focus, and you have it to yourself. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
We got a question. It says, is it possible to build a thing like a PubSub server client in C# with Courier? So we don't really do PubSub on our side. So you make a RESTful request to either our send or our list send endpoint to send the information over. We do send back a message ID, and you can use that message ID with our messages API to pull back information about the message that was published. So one thing that I do is after I send the message to something I know is going to Discord, I query our messages API to look for that message ID. So that way later on, I can reply to that message, edit that message. So Courier doesn't really work in a PubSub fashion. Twitch still supports PubSub, specifically, I think, around interacting with chat. So if you wanted to make a chat bot for your Twitch, things like that. Hopefully that answers your question. Cool. And so we have access to our data, and I'm trying to see what do we need here. We need, awesome, thanks. So now we need information on the stream, and so I'm just going to pull that out into its own variable, so that way it doesn't get messy down below. And so I'm just going to say stream is equal to data.stream, and because it's coming over kind of weird, I'm going to say data.stream of _data. So that's going to give us access to stream information. I'm going to close that for right now. One thing we should probably do is look at the test data that's coming over, and that way we can start using preview. So I'm going to create a test case, and we're going to say event. That sounds like a good name. And I've gone ahead and copied out all the data, so we can just paste that in here. This is all the data that we're going to have access to. So you can see we got this _data. I think it's because the library I'm using returns an object, and I'm just saying pass that object over, so it's stringifying it, and all the information is actually in data, and there's accessor functions. So it's just something that we deal with. The other thing we could do is actually just pull out the information that we want. But we've got the username here on the stream, so that's going to help us with the URL. And then we've got a title here, and so we can pull that in as well. So let's go back. Oh, okay, I'm going to do this again.
Did you just click off of it?
This is one of the few places we actually have a save button.
I know.
Okay, we're doing it live. Okay. Luckily, it's all just been copy paste.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to hit create test event. And then this is going to try to, it really shouldn't need anything right now. Yeah, okay, cool. So we haven't really put any variables, but it's generating our preview, which isn't fantastic, but it kind of tells you what's going on. So let's go back to the design and use some of these elements that we passed over in data. So here, join us for the title. Because Jsonnet is very close to Python, we can do some string formatting. So we're going to say that this is %s because that's going to be a string. But we also need one here. Right there, so we can put the user ID. And I've already forgotten what the names of these variables are. I should probably write it down. So what you can do is do %. And then because there's only two, I can use a tuple. And so the first one we need is, I think it's user_name. And that's actually stream.user_name.
Well, that's in your test event too, though, right?
It is in the test event.
So we'll see if it works after we type it.
Yeah. And then the other one we need is stream.title. I'm pretty sure that's the right for that. And so that will take those two pieces of information, put it into the string, and render it. So let's see if my memory served me right with the variables. It did not. Expected, I haven't got that. Okay, hold on. Let's first check. Okay, so it is user underscore name. So let's see what is going on. Okay, so that percent. This is probably me like spelling something wrong.
Is it not liking the string thing?
Well, let's see.
Do you have another example of Jsonnet that does that in your account?
Yeah, you know what? I think we ran into this last time. I think it's got to be square brackets. Let's find out. Hey, there we go. All right, so now we have our little emoji. We're live on Twitch. Join us for, and it puts in Courier Live, notify Discourse users about your live stream with Twitch EventSub and Courier. Awesome. So we do have some personalization in here. If you were to set up events for more than just Courier, it would also take care of that. So if, we're like, let's say all of our engineers have their own Twitch accounts and we want to let everybody know whenever each of our engineers were streaming, we would just create subscriptions in EventSub for each one of them. It would go to the same endpoint. All that information would go over to Courier. Courier would personalize the message and send it. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit publish changes because Riley is right here watching me. Most of the time on the stream, whenever things don't work, it's because I forget to publish the changes. And so what we'll do is since we can't trigger an online event because we are already online, we're going to use Courier's handy send function. And so this is the notification ID, which one thing that we want to do, let's do that first. I think we can go in here and go to events. And what we want to do is we want to create a new event. Oh, well, look at that. There's an unmapped event and it just appears in the drop down. I've not seen that before. Was that you, Riley?
Yeah, that was me.
That was you. Okay, yeah, I knew it. So there's an unmapped event, and so because what I was getting ready to do was go back to our glitch app to like copy and paste it to make sure I didn't get it wrong. But I'm just going to go ahead and hit that. So because we used an event ID instead of the notification ID as the event, we needed to map that. And so I wanted to go ahead and do that so I wouldn't forget. And then when this thing goes live, it ends up just not sending anything. So we did that. Great, it's mapped. This is great. Like you can access the events inside the notification now instead of going into the settings. So that's nice. I didn't have to leave the notification. Okay, I don't have to publish it again. All right, so let's go back to the send. We could use the notification ID. We could use the event ID. That's awesome too. That's in the drop down as well. Oh my gosh, things are just getting easier. And you can see that as we're making these changes, it's updating these examples. So if you were not using my glitch app and you were using something else, maybe you're writing it in Go, maybe you're writing it in Ruby or Python. We try to put that code out there for you so you can just plop it in. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to use the recipient ID for the webhook that we created. And that was, okay, so for this, I'm definitely going to go make sure I copy and paste it. We're going to plop in Courier Discourse banner. So that way it will pull it from the profile database. And then it's going to pull in all the information for the profile because we have that stored in there. And I don't want to put it in the test event because then again you'll see my API keys and then that's no fun for anybody. definitely not me. And so we have all of this information. Here's all of our data that's being passed over. That's great. We're not using a brand right now. And so we should just be able to hit send notification.
We need to add a link to go to the logs from there.
Oh yeah, that would be nice.
Like pop up like successful, and then let's you jump to the dot.
That would be nice. Yeah.
You can always go to the data right after to check.
Yeah. That's what I do. That's where I was getting ready to go, because as anybody who's watched me before, I love our logs and I love looking at the data. So you can see that alert went out. It's in our event log. And you can see like the whole timeline. So like, here's all the information that was received. The event was mapped. That's great. That's what didn't happen yesterday because we didn't have a notification. Whoop. I click the profile loaded really quick. Nobody back up. We can see what was rendered. We've got delivery confirmation. So this is all of the information that came back from the Discourse API route. So if you need access to any of that, you have the ability to see that. And then we see that it was sent. So it's automatically marked as sent. And if we go to our Courier community and refresh, we got our wonderful little banner up at the top.
So that's when you click on that link. We do like it's an Inception where we show ourselves in the stream.
Oh, it would. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I see enough of me like right here. But yeah, like if we look down there in the corner, it actually has the right URL, twitch.tv/trycourier. Again, if you have not subscribed, you should smash that subscribe button. And that's it. That's done. And so like the next time we get an online, it's going to make this request for us. So in 2 weeks, when I'm online with Shy from Contentful, you'll have to come check out the forum and see if it's up there.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So
yeah.
This was using what?
The emojis aren't matching.
Well, so they are. It's something with it's actually something with us. So I picked the female technologist, right? And if you know anything about emojis, and I've heard a lot of great talks from like Miriko from Brooklyn JS. I think she did a talk on emojis at Queen.js, but like emojis are composed. So what we're seeing over here. Let's go back to let's go find the notification. Nope, that's the wrong one. We'll get it. TW Twitch alert. So what we're seeing here is whenever I pasted an emoji in, it decomposed the female technologist emoji. And so what that is it's actually a composition of a female and a computer.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, so you can see that there's like a little red dot between that. But like, what's interesting is like there's a family one, and it's composed of a male, a female, a child, and a child. And there's like emoji math, where you can like actually like subtract a child from the thing, and it will like take it out. It's very interesting. But that's
wow.
The editor that we're using apparently can't render that level of emoji composition, or like it doesn't know that emoji, and so it just decomposes it for whenever we see it there. But
what is a female technologist emoji? Is that's a thing?
It's the woman at the computer.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. Oh, right. So like if I were to, I think I can. Yeah. So if I click here, it's this.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And so basically, like to make that emoji, it's a combination of two emojis.
Got it.
Actually, the female is a person plus the female sign. Like it even decomposes. So emojis are crazy. Go look it up.
Wow, I didn't know that much about emojis.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. Emoji math. Okay, so I didn't put anything in there. I didn't publish it. But yeah, so the next time, whenever we receive this event from Twitch EventSub, it's going to go into Courier, and it's going to start processing all the recipients on the list. Right now, we only have one. In the future, I hope to add other ones that for like our internal Slack, for our Discord, and then all of these notifications will be set automatically.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you had fun. I hope you go and subscribe to Courier. Set this up for your stream. If you're a gamer stream, or if you're a coder stream, you should definitely tweet us at TryCourier. Tell us what's going on. Let us know how you use this. And I'd love to help. If you run into problems using it, please reach out to me on Twitter. I'm at itsadrian, ITSAYDRIAN. And I'd be happy to help you with this. But I think that's all we got for now. Courier Live is now every other week. So I will see everyone in 2 weeks. Let me switch some things around here. I want to thank Riley for joining us and for putting in that awesome dropdown and making webhooks so much better through Courier. And I will let her get back to work.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'll see everyone in 2 weeks. Go remix the Glitch app, sign up for Courier, and let's start sending some Twitch notifications.
Cool.
All right. Bye.
Bye.